Hazrat Sohaib radiyallahu anhu states that Allah's Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Among the people prior to you, there lived a king who had a court magician. When that magician grew old, he said to the king, 'Now I have grown old, send any boy to me so that I should teach him magic.' The king sent a young man to him so that he should teach him magic. On his way to the magician, there was a monk. So he, the young boy, would sit in his company and listened to the monk's talk, and his talk impressed him. When he would reach the magician, he would beat him for his coming late. The boy complained to the monk of it. The monk whereupon said, 'When you get afraid of the magician, say him, my family detained me. And when you have the fear of your family, say, the magician detained me.' It continued when, in the meanwhile, a huge beast blocked the way of the people. The boy thought, 'Today I will test whether the magician is superior or the monk is superior.' He picked up a stone and said, 'O Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, if you like the affairs of the monk more than that of the magician, kill the beast so that the people may transit freely.' He then stoned the beast to death, and the people began to move about freely. He then visited the monk and notified him of it. The monk said to him, 'O Sonny, today you have become superior to me. Your affair has reached the stage which I am witnessing. Soon you will get entangled into a catastrophe, when you will be put to a trial. Don't tell anyone my whereabouts.' That boy began to cure the blind by birth and the leprous and cure all kinds of illness of the people. A courtier of the king who had gone blind heard it, and came to him with a lot many gifts, and said, 'If you cure me, what I have collected here would be yours.' The boy replied, 'I myself do not cure anyone. It is only Allah who cures. If you believe in Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, I shall also supplicate Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu will cure you.' He believed in Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, and Allah Jalla Jalaluhu granted him cure. He came back to the king and sat with him as per his previous practice. The king asked him, 'Who restored your eyesight?' He replied, 'My Lord did.' The king said, 'Is there any Lord of yours besides me?' He replied, 'My and your Lord is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu.' The king arrested him and kept torturing him until he told him the whereabouts of the boy. Then that boy was fetched, and the king said to him, 'O Sonny, your proficiency in magic has reached this stage that you cure the blind by birth and leprous ones, and does more than it.' He replied, 'I don't effect a cure, only Allah Jalla Jalaluhu grants cure.' The king arrested him and kept torturing him until he gave a clue about the whereabouts of the monk. The monk was brought, and he was ordained to repudiate his religion. The monk refused, so he ordered for a saw, placed it in the middle of the monk's head, and split him into two halves till one half fell down. He then summoned that courtier and asked him to renounce his religion, but he refused. He whereupon placed the saw in the middle of his head and rent him into two parts. He then summoned the boy and asked him to lapse from his religion, but that boy refused. The king handed him over to some of his courtiers and said, 'Take him to such and such mountain. If he lapses from his religion, that will be okay. Otherwise, throw him down the mountain.' They took that boy and ascended the mountain with him. After ascending the mountain, he invoked, 'O Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, save me from them in the way you please.' Right then, the mountain began to quake, and they all fell down from the mountain. And that boy walked to the king. The king asked him, 'What happened to your companions?' He replied, 'Allah Jalla Jalaluhu saved me from them.' The king again entrusted him to some of his courtiers and said, 'Go along with him and make him embark a boat. And when the boat reached the middle of the ocean and he renounces his religion, that is okay. Otherwise, consign him to the ocean.' They took him, and he, on reaching the middle of the ocean, invoked, 'O Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, rescue me from them as you please.' That boat at once capsized, and they all drowned. And that boy walked to the king. The king whereupon asked, 'What happened to your companions?' He replied, 'Allah Jalla Jalaluhu saved me from them.' He then said to the king, 'You cannot kill me until you do what I command you to do.' The king asked, 'What is that?' The boy said, 'Assemble all the people in ground and hang me on a tree. Then take an arrow from my quiver, and placing the arrow on the string of the bow, say, 'In the name of Allah, the Lord of this boy, and then shoot me with the arrow. If you do that, you will be able to kill me." So the king assembled all the people in a plain ground, hanged him on a tree, took an arrow out from his quiver, placed that arrow on the string of the bow, and said, "In the name of Allah, the Lord of this boy." He then shot him with the arrow, and that arrow pierced his temple. That boy placed his hand on his temple where the arrow had hit him, and expired. All the people said, "We believe in the Lord of this boy. We believe in the Lord of this boy. We believe in the Lord of this boy." This news reached the king, and it was said to him, "Do you see that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu has done what you feared? All the people have become believers." The king whereupon issued orders to dig ditches at the entrances of the streets. So those ditches were dug, and fire was kindled in them. And he then said, "Hurl him into the ditch who does not lapse from his religion." Or it was said to them, "Jump in it." So the people entered it until a woman came along with her child, and she hesitated to jump into it. But the child said to her, "O mother, exercise patience. You are on the right path." Sahih Muslim Hadees number 7436.